Hi, this is Mika. Welcome back to Leap Taken. Here I discuss all things witchcraft, law of attraction, manifesting, witchy, spiritual, and everything in between. So today I wanted to talk about designing your own ritual. So one of the ways that I learned to do that is with this book. To have a really good structure and I could use going forward for all my ritual work. And the book is The Witch's Bag of Tricks. It's by Melanie Marquise. So awesome book. I did a video, I think about a year ago on this book, and it is excellent. So I still use it to this day, so that's telling you something. But she gives an overall framework for crafting your own ritual. Now, of course, a ritual could be something you use for, moon phases. You can use it for different Sabbats, like for Beltane, if you want to use something for, we just had a holiday for Lammas, things like that. And of course, my all-time favorite, Halloween, aka Samhain. Also, ritual for anything else. You can do a ritual for self-care. You can do a ritual for peace. You can do a love ritual. This is not spell work. This is a ritual now. And I'll get into that in just a minute. But what I wanted to just do is kind of go step by step a little bit. Before I do anything, I use my tarot cards. This is the deck I'm currently in love with. Although I'm quickly beginning to get into another deck. I'll just show a quick card from it. This is the, what is it called? The Druid Craft Tarot. Love that deck, but this is my tried and true. And here's the book it comes with. This is by Deborah Blake. Wait, my hand's all over it. Deborah Blake. Everyday Witch. Yeah, the Guide to the Everyday Witch Tarot. Love this. But the point is, I use these cards. I do a quick reading to sort of get on the same page with my ancestors in spirit. Once I do that and, I feel comfortable with the reading, I go from there. I record everything, my reading, because I do a reading at the end of the ritual as well, in my notebook. Oh, I'm like, where I put it? In my notebook here. This is just a simple notebook. It has grid paper, which I like because that way, I don't know if you can see the grids. That way, I don't have to just write. I can do pictures. I can draw the cards. It just makes life a little bit easier. Once I have that, I'm ready to go with the ritual. And that's where this comes back in. So I gather all my supplies. So if I'm going to have candles, if I have any herbs that I'm going to use, incense, all that sort of stuff, I've already reached out into, yes, this is the books, but I want to show you everything, how I kind of cross-reference things. Magical herbalism. You can go online and search at the meaning of things also, but I like this book. I've had this book since I first got into Wicca so many years ago, so it still holds up for creating your own incense and stuff like that. So I find this book like super helpful for just cross-referencing what herbs and things like that I'm going to use, and it's just really super helpful. But I will refer to this a lot of times still. So once I have all that going, I have my supplies, I got my candles, any petitions or anything like that, if that's part of the ritual, because within a ritual I might be doing a working, so I'll have all that ready to go also. All right, so just to sort of go over, and I'm just basing it on here because I actually use this as my structure, step by step, crafting your own ritual. I start off in my Book of Shadows. I write the date and time of my ritual, obvious enough. I would go as far as to write down the moon phase, any astrological happenings, what the current situation is with that. Record all of that. Trust me. Write down what the ritual is for, in honor of. Is it for a deity? Is it for a celebration of the full moon, the new moon, of Yule, whatever. That's what we're writing down. Any symbols. You want to write any symbols at this time, especially if this is something you enjoy. A lot of people are very good with artwork and drawing things, and I would include, this is, if you're writing this in your Book of Shadows, by the way, or your notebook, whatever, journal, But any symbols that you want to include that has to do with your ritual, go ahead. Then the next step is the actual ritual opening. So the ritual opening is basically, it could be a circle if you want to cast a circle. It could be bells or chimes, yeah. It could be ringing a bell. It could be clapping your hands. It's sort of getting it going, It could be words. Whatever your ritual opening is, for me, it starts with grounding, cleansing breaths. It sort of gets me to a place where physically I can function and focus on what I'm doing so that we can let everything else spiritual, come out. So that's how I start my ritual opening, is just breathing, breath work. Trying to empty as much as I can, and I start from there. I always start from a place of gratitude. If I'm reaching out to ancestors as part of ritual, I thank my ancestors right off the bat. Again, it's me. I introduce myself. I speak these words out. This is after I've had cleansing breath and I've slowed down. Very deliberate when I say it, very gracious. And this is also a great time to do offerings if you choose to do so. I do not always do offerings, depending on what kind of ritual I'm doing. I do not. If I do, it might be to light a candle I've already anointed with a specific oil that I know is attributed to this particular deity or this particular season or this, you get where I'm going with this. I would light it at that point as an offering. Or if you have water, you can water, food, what have you, you would acknowledge it at this point in the ritual. The other thing is any spoken words if you want to go further into what the ritual is about and you want to speak this out loud, you can. I've done that as well. I've already written, there are times I will write something down and it's in my book of shadows and I just reread it as part of my ritual. And this is just the general ritual. If there's more I'm going to add, that's fine, but this is the thing that I always say. Finally, any special traditions, which goes into the spoken word. But if you have special traditions, things like special traditions could be anything you want it to be. It could be to play certain music, to light a certain incense at this phase. Again, with the sounds, if you want drumming, bells, anything. I'm just trying to think whatever you want to make your special tradition. If it's more words or something like that, or drawing a symbol or something of that nature. Whatever it is, could be a good time to do it. And then followed by magical workings. So spell work, charms, if you're going to do a charm back. If you're making, you're enchanting something. Making a potion. This is all within a ritual. We're still within a ritual. You're doing this working within the ritual. So that's why I said have all your supplies ready to go, because you're still in this ritual mode. You still don't want to disturb the sacred space you've just created. So you at this point, you would go ahead and do whatever workings that you have. Within that, you would, show gratitude as well after you create your spell work. And then finally, when that's all done, by the way, you don't have to do a magical working, but this is just if you wanted to. And then finally, you would just do the ritual closing. That's pretty much it. Your ritual closing is anything you want it to be. I would find whatever you did when you opened, do the opposite of that to close it. So if you created a circle, it's time to close that circle. If you've rang the bell 3 times that you have, ring the bell 3 times again to signify you're done. And then finally, any sort of celebratory meal you have, or if you want a glass of wine, if you want to do anything like that, this would be a great time to go ahead and do that. So again, I got this here from this book. This is just a structure. The thing I love about this book is it gives structure. And I think a lot of times, I know I was definitely one of those people, I needed structure when it came to me giving more definition on my spirituality and witchcraft and everything else. I needed structure. I'm one of those people, it's important that I see something written down, even if I wrote it down myself or in a book. I read a lot. I sort of need that. I can get into the witchiness of it all, and I can become very spiritual, and I can get very esoteric, but at the same time, there's just the way I think. I am a very rational minded person. I need some level of structure, and this book is great if you're like me, and even if you're not totally like me, you like to kind of be a little more loosey-goosey and just let it fly. Occasionally, you might want, maybe at least for your ritual, to have a certain order when you do it. What you do within that could be loosey-goosey, but there's always an opening, there's always a closing, there's always a beginning and an ending to your ritual. So that sort of thing, and everything in between, you can structure it so that it's more effective and it becomes natural. So that's what I have to say about doing ritual and taking a step-by-step approach. So I hope this helps anyone who might be struggling with that, and get that book because it's like super helpful. I got mine on Amazon, like I said, about a year ago. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to talk about as far as that. And I will be doing another video soon, where I'm going to be doing, I showed a video where I had put these little cute little potted plants. So the moon phase currently, we're coming off a new moon, so it's currently waxing. So I thought it would be a good time to do that type of working, where I'm going to plant my plant my intentions to this little plant that I have, and it's lavender, so it's going to be for peace and well-being and so forth. So excuse me, I'll be doing that on my next video, so stay tuned for that. And I have something else coming up really pretty cool I wanted to talk about, using a spirit board. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Again, this is Mika with Leap Taken, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.